What a Wild Spirit Brings by Lil, Chapter 54. Lil finally was the first to move after long minutes of everyone frozen, staring at her. She simply turned and started picking up the camp. The other women dumbly followed her example. After a couple seconds, no one saying a word. Lil didn't care what they were thinking. She was alive. She would stop being so flippant with her life. People were too affected by her actions. People depended on her. She needed to be alive. As the group started heading toward the looming tongues, Gim finally broke the silence of the group. You know, if you would like to, you could just go leave a letter for Mitten. Lil was stunned. Gimp looked uncomfortable saying it. Before Lil could figure out the expression on Gimp's face, the Haldani calm was there, replacing all her emotion, and leaving Lil wondering. I don't understand. You make things in the wilder. The things you create are real in our world. Lil suddenly realized what a friend was saying. She remembered the letter she had written Gimp so long ago, and Gimp was here, her friend. Gimp had come to the Nth not to find her, but had been thrilled to see her. Lil smiled openly. Gimp had gotten that letter. She would do more than leave Mitten a letter, but Mornay and even Tamrock and Mina should get letters as well. She could undo some of the wrong she had done. Thank you, Gimp. What a wonderful idea. You know, no matter how horrible things are, you always make them feel less awful. You make even seemingly impossible situations feel less so. Thank you. Gimp smiled, blushing a little, and Lil cast her a quick smile before strapping herself to Ferg's earring once again. She had work to do. She slept and flew in the wilder for Andrus. She decided to start at the castle, then go to Yedem, then finish with a letter for Mitten. That way, she was making a loop to the furthest away place and could start immediately back for the Wailing Tongues. Hopefully this would mean she was not too much a burden to everyone by being gone as short a while as possible. She knew Gimp would not have suggested the task had she not been willing to take care of Lil while she was away from her body, tied to a giant's hoop earring, but she didn't want to take too much advantage of her friend. Once to the castle, Lil searched for her baby cousin Spirit. She figured since Jelena was just a baby, she would sleep more often than her cousin, and also she didn't know where Mornay's room was. Lil sat by the cradle, humming to herself excitedly. Finally, a way to communicate with people while far away that didn't involve having to return to dream walking. She shuddered at the thought. It was only a few hours before the royal baby spirit appeared. Lil sang a song to the babe as she handed it the letter, wrapped in a leather binding marked with Mornay's name and seal. She hoped that when her baby cousin awakened, if she started chewing on the binding, the leather would protect the parchment within. She was only a babe, after all. The letter stated that Lil was well, living with the Ntha, and had left because of Henry's death, and nothing else. She thanked the Queen for all the hospitality and all her wise advice, and hoped that their mutual friend Mitten was doing well. Lil decided she would act as if she did not know that the Queen had sent Mitten away, since that might give away that Gimp had found her, and if the Queen accidentally let that slip, the power might punish Gimp. Lil was trying to think things through and avoid causing problems. She did end the letter with love, and with her intentions to stop by and visit her family and Mitten, perhaps within a month or so. That should get the Queen sending for Mitten to return as her consul. Lil then flew to Yedem and did the same, leaving a letter leather-wrapped for Tamrock and Mina, sending her love and hoping that they were doing well and Ashen was growing well and happy. She added that she missed them and hopefully would only be gone a month or two more, and then would be back, as promised, hopefully to stay and build her own home there. She had time to think while waiting for her brother's spirit to appear, and had come to realize that Mitten believed in a prophecy, and the Ntha as well, about her brother. Mitten thought it was about Lil, but she knew that she was not of the pure line. She was not blood related to ties. Ashen was. Ashen was the person Mitten should have been trying to help this whole time. The problem was that this meant he had something to do with helping to defeat Shealum. At least, Mitten had said that. Part of her wanted to keep her secret and remain second in line to the throne, but the rest of her knew Mitten had to know. The woman's mind was consumed with serving the royal line. If anyone deserved to know about her brother, it was Mitten. And so she would return and watch over her brother. She had to know what the prophecy was. She had to ask Tindra, laws or no laws, about it. She would find out and she would protect him. She would live out her life in Yedem with him. She belonged there. She sang also to her brother before leaving his happy little spirit. Baby spirits were always delighted little things, it appeared. She flew away from him, wondering still about the prophecies that seemed to surround him like a cloud, to give out her third letter. At the college, Mitten's room was almost exactly the same as when she had first seen it, except a few books were on the bed at the foot, and a new lamp stand stood in a corner. Mitten was still tidy and minimalist. The longest wait was this one. Mitten didn't fall asleep for hours and hours, almost to where Lil was worried the power might have her sleeping in the dorms or something. But finally the spirit was there, lying in the bed. Lil took a deep breath and started to hand her letter, already written to the spirit, when suddenly it flared up, like a candle flame reaching for her. She raised her hands, flying backward into the air, and called to Mitten's spirit that she was here as a friend. The light slowly began to quiet in the spirit, and Lil handed it the letter, heartbroken. Even without consciousness, Mitten recognized her. The letter said how sorry she was she had run off, and how she was safe living with Yentha, and would soon journey back to see her at the castle with Mornay, on her way to return to Yedam, where Ty's son was living. Lil explained that she had no blood relation to Ty's at all. She was completely adopted, but her brother was not. He had to be raised away from the royal houses, though. She wished him to be safe and unknown even to Mornay, for his own protection. The baby boy would be the true heir to the pure line, and would be no pawn nor have any attempts on his life, raised simply in the most remote place in the world. She hoped Mitten realized how much she trusted her to not only tell her about the baby brother, but also to know that Mitten would leave him undisturbed where he was, and see that Yedam remained remote, seeing as it was part of Andris. As consul, she would distract Mornay and all the royals from even wondering about visiting Yedam, for the boy looked just like his mother and be easily recognized by the wrong people. Lil thought she was done. She thought up until she was leaving that she had come to the Wilder to give only 3 letters. But as she was hovering over the white cathedral, she felt herself drawn to the dorms for the studies and understudies. She flew down and searched the room, the dorm numbers for Damine's name. It was the same room and the same roommate. Lil smiled despite her sadness. She entered through the window and saw their sleeping spirits meandering together about the room. She didn't know which was which, so just made a simple note and laid it on a little iron desk in the room. It said only, "I forgive you, Damine." Lil flew up into the sky from Maestra content. She felt her eyes welling up a little, but she didn't cry. She realized she could never get closure from Damine. It was not as if she would ever see her again, or even get to ask why. There was no reason to hold on to it any more. If it was a memory, it was a memory. And she had other memories. Memories of Damine, afraid of rape herself. Memories of a girl being cast away by her mother, holding her in the inn while she cursed everyone she had known. Memories of a girl so hurt inside that it came out of her as poison. Lil really did forgive her. Damine was someone who had had all the potential in the world to be a wonderful woman, ripped from her by other people. Lil remembered that what Damine had said when she raped her. Damine had said there was no power in talking, in gaining affection, only in taking, just like everyone had taken from her. Damine probably thought there was no one in the world who knew what it felt like to have everything taken away completely, but because of her actions Lil did know, and knew what it had caused her to do to Mitten. She hadn't raped Mitten, but she also had almost killed Jerk, and ruined everything the Haldani had worked for. Lil had taken everything away from her dear friend, just the way Damine had from her. She was no different. If she ever hoped to have Mitten forgive her, she had to forgive Damine. The rape was a memory, distant and uncontrolling. She didn't need an explanation from Damine or even an apology. It took her a long while, good friends, impactful moments of little steps, overcoming all aspects of her experience, and some deal of understanding, tears, and openness. But she finally had healed the wound the power could not. She healed it for herself. And so she flew to the final place she came into the Wilder to visit. There would be no letter needed this time. She would apologize herself to Trixian for being gone so long. She knew the woman must be worried sick about why she was missing yet again.